I'm Sonja A Bell, a music artist, published author, and a songwriter, and I'm here to take the stage. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, but grew up here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana most of my life. I'm actually from Scotlandville. I'm a Scotlandville girl. And right up the street, Highway 19, I grew up with my two sisters, my mom, and my grandparents. Sitting on my grandmother's front porch, me and my sisters, and that's where the music began. I was about 4 years old. My youngest sister, Shonda, was 3, and my oldest sister, Melissa, better known as Missy, was 6 years old. And so that's where the music began. It went from us singing pretty often, almost every day. And then it developed into her teaching us 3-part harmony. And from there, it developed into us going from church to church within Baton Rouge, then Mississippi, then Shreveport. We were known as the Anderson Trio Singers. We were singing songs that were way beyond our years. And I think that's what made it so interesting to people when we went to churches, because we were these 3 little girls singing these old school gospel songs. I come from a family, actually, my background on my mother and my father's side are singers and musicians. My great-grandfather was a composer. My grandmother actually was not only a singer, but she was also a person that did poetry. And I just really enjoyed seeing the fact that my dad, you know, even to this day, he still sings. Whenever we had Sunday dinners, family get-togethers, holidays, yard parties, whatever was going on, there was always going to be music in everything that we did, because music is like a second language with my family. After some years lapsed by, we were not really doing a lot of singing as a group, but just with family events and in the home. But I was approached when I was 22 years old by a local pastor who was doing a church launching, and he wanted me to be his worship leader. And so it started then, you know, when I was 22 years old. And from that experience over the years, I've been blessed to be able to do ministry beyond Louisiana and other states, and even actually opened doors for me to do music ministry on international levels as well.
Recently joined a church that she was at, and I had interest of joining the praise team. So we finally connected. I went to her house, and when I met her, I was just instantly kind of drawn to her. Like she was just a sweet, kind, you know, woman. And like she went over all the stuff. Mind you, she never heard me sing, okay? She just kind of was like, come on in, like, go ahead, go with it. And I was like, okay, that's different.
In full honesty, I don't remember how we met. It's just like, you know, when me and Miss Sonja get together, it's like we've known each other all of our lives. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, when we have our meetings, it might be scheduled for like 30 minutes, but it might end up going 2 hours or something like that because of the stuff that we talk about. And it's really never a dull moment.
You know, I believe the Father will give us warnings. You know, sometimes it's in the natural things that we overlook that's happening within our physical body, you know, our physical health, especially if we're not resting properly, if we are, what's the expression, burning the candle at both ends. And I was busy, a lot, you know, was on my plate. And I was not telling anyone that I was overwhelmed. But once again, sometimes we can be overachievers. You know, we don't want to, you know, face the reality of not being able to get it done. So we just keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And that's exactly what I continued to do. And I was actually at a women's conference and I was up singing. And I started to feel a little funny, but I didn't pay it any mind. I just continued to be there. And I proceeded to be where I needed to be to start singing. I heard the most beautiful heavenly worship, but it wasn't going on in the church. At the time, I thought it was. And at that point, I realized I could not feel myself. I could not feel standing there. I could not feel anything. And I didn't know I couldn't talk. I couldn't get the words out to say something's wrong. It wasn't until days later I discovered that there was no one singing. They were all around me concerning if I was okay, because at this point I had collapsed to the floor. And from there I was lifted in a helicopter to the trauma unit.
I can't remember exactly. Might have been like my junior year, senior year, something like that. Maybe my junior year. But yeah, I was in high school when that happened. You know, my mom, she been singing since like 2 years old. You know what I'm saying? So on the stage every Sunday morning, and then all of a sudden that situation happens, and it's like now on Sunday she's sitting in a wheelchair.
All of a sudden I just heard like, oh, Sonja fell out. Da, 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 da. I was like, what? You know, and I just remember just beginning to pray. You know, I think everybody who was around me, we just began to pray. So I didn't know exactly what was going on. I didn't know what was it. All I knew is that she was being rushed to the hospital.
I remember the hospital visits. I remember, you know.
But you had to kind of run away, if you will, inside your head.
It was,
just to
man,
have
that's all outside of my wife, bro.
Yeah.
All I know is my mama. Man, that was it. You know, my mom. So to be honest, it's like, man, I'm gonna die before my mom's. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna die. Mama gonna be here forever. Die before mom's. Even though they say parents are never supposed to bury their children. Yeah. Like, man, I'm gonna die before mom's. In my mind, mama gonna be here forever.
Everybody was all around trying to, you know, get her to respond and talk to them. And it was scary because, especially when they brought in the helicopter, that was kind of scary for me because that made me know just how serious it was, you know. While all the time I'm praying and trusting God, when I was with her during her stay in the hospital, she would have these episodes that I would call them where like she was leaving us, and I would just, you know, hit her on the hand and try to bring her back too. And after so many minutes or so, she'd come back, and she kept having those episodes like that. But I just kept praying and kept believing God. And I had a little song I would always sing to her about Jesus covering her with the blood, and I was singing that over her all the time about the blood covering her. And I remember I was singing it one time and I saw her lips moving like she was trying to sing it too. But I just kept making that proclamation every day, all during the day, and praying and believing God and just worshiping Him during that whole time.
Worship My Way Out was released in June of 2016, just a few years or so after me falling with what they thought was a stroke, but they really weren't certain what exactly was going on with me at that time. But that album was inspired by the music that was given to me during the time that I was disabled. It was a time of intimacy with the Father for me, ministering to me concerning a lot of things on the inside that needed healing that I wasn't even aware of. So the songs that were birthed on Worship My Way Out was inspired during that time of being disabled, and the songs that were given to me during that time of being in prayer and trusting God to be healed. So Amazing was released August of 2019. And that song was a song driven by faith to follow the instruction from the Father to go into the studio and just record. I did not, most of that material was birthed right there in the studio.
the honor. We lift our hands in worship as we bless your holy name. You deserve the glory.
Once I got to a place where I could grab a hold for myself, then the worship on the inside began to flow. Even when I couldn't move or do anything else, the worship on the inside began to flow, and the Father could hear me even from the inside, and everything else began to manifest from there.
So that's crazy though, because it's like, I know my mom's has only put out like, you know, her professional book as of right now, but my mom, she's been very creative. Like, for as long as I've known, she's been writing stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't surprise me at all. Like, I can't even get a regular text message from my mom without it being like a little short story. You know what I'm saying? So my mom, she's a writer, she's a poet, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like, I wasn't surprised to see that she was, you know, had a book on the way, and I won't be surprised when she drops her next book. My mom, she's a great writer. You know, she's great with literature, all that. I kind of have all that in me from her as well. So, you know, we all about the arts, bro. So, yeah, like, it's dope. I can't wait till she drops the next book.
That's when I got a lot of information through the book. And the book had me teary-eyed, man. But the connection.
Yeah,
because it's your mom. Right. You know what I'm saying? I know the author. I'm like, man. And some of the things when I was reading it, it took me back to those moments. And, you know, sometimes, bro, we don't really appreciate things until things happen. Not just to when they're gone, but sometimes things could happen to where you can see them leaving. Or you can see this thing dissipating or disappearing. And it causes you to, you know, appreciate more.
Yeah, because it's on the verge of you losing it.
At the same time, this is something that she went through that a lot of people, way more than we know, are going through constantly. And the Most High Yah blessed her, you know what I'm saying? And he healed her. He's still healing her, but man, you know, there's still things that you still can see traits of what happened, even in her today. Whether it's just sometime with her memory, or you know, sometime when mom's getting extra angry at you real quick. You know what I'm saying? Things that wasn't really going on before then. It's just traits from that. But at the same time, man, he still got you healed. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to just check yourself and be like, all right, she wasn't like that before this. You know, like the doctor said, there's science, but the creator created it all, man. So there's still healing that's still taking place. To this day, there's still healing that's taking place.
I have read other stories and testimonies, but I never saw myself as a writer, to be honest, until after all of what I experienced medically happened. And I just felt like one of the inspirations was getting my story out there to encourage someone else. But there is a writer, her name is Betty Davis, and she was a key player in the motivation of it all, because I expressed to her that I believe I should do it. And she asked me, well, what are you doing about it? You know, what do you plan to do about that? And it wasn't until she asked me that question that I actually started realizing, you know, I'm saying this in passing, but maybe I can do it.
She brought her stuff from her own prayer closet and made the booth into, you know, a prayer closet. I'm not sure exactly how it looked in there, but all I can hear is, you know, just her praying. I just turned on the keyboard and just started, you know, just playing this flow type of stuff. And she just caught on, and it lasted about 20 minutes. It was like almost like a 20-minute recording. of just her just being prophetic, being connected to God. And it was quite an experience.
I think that song, it just reminds me of the miracle that God had done in her. And I think he put that song in her heart because he is amazing. He is. That's right. He's amazing.
Isn't it amazing? It's just so amazing how you love me the way you do. Isn't it amazing? Oh, it's so amazing how I stand in awe of you. Your love for me is like no other. Your thoughts for me so precious, outnumbering the grains of sand. It's so amazing, just so amazing how you love me. Thank you, Lord, how you love me. It's so amazing.
Okay, so the first song released after recovering from the stroke on my first album is Worship My Way Out. And that song was actually birthed during the time that I was recovering, lying there day after day and just trusting the Lord to heal me. The words to that song began to flow, and the expression or the words Worship My Way Out originated from during the time when I was collapsed on the floor. I could hear everything going on around me. I could hear everyone talking, but I could not respond. Someone whispered in my ear while I was there, "Sonja, worship your way out." And those words stayed with me. So that's where Worship My Way Out came from. And the words just began to come even more from my heart to the Father during that song, describing what it was like while I was going through that journey. One of the things that really inspire me and I'm so encouraged by is when I hear people respond to the music that has been released. I've had people to share just how much it related to them and that they could identify with being exactly through the experiences that I share in my music. And I just think it's a blessing when, because that's what it's really all about. You want to be able to touch the heart of others and be able to inspire and encourage others. And I just think that it's really a rewarding thing in what I'm doing for the glory of God and to encourage someone else and to inspire someone else being able to receive from it. There's quite a few things that I could probably say I would like to plan to do. I love working with children. I love just flowing in the prophetic worship. And there are some things that I've written, but I honestly have to say, I would rather just take it one day at a time and what the Father has for me to do. I'm excited because I know there's some really great things, but I really don't know all of what He has in store, but I'm excited about it because I know it's going to be good, it's going to be well.